dear students, myself Gangadhar Solanke, and I welcome you all to the MC James virtual classroom. My dear students, today in Standard 8 History and Civics, we'll be learning the topic the Union Executive. In the last chapter of Civics, that was the Indian Parliament, we learnt about the Union Legislature, which included the structure and functioning of the Parliament. Now in this chapter, we are going to study the Union Executive. The Union Government means the central government. Government which works at national level or for the country is known as the Union Government. The Union Government is made up of President, Legislature and Executive. Now in the Legislature, in the last chapter, we discussed about the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And by that, you know that the Legislature, Executive and Judiciary are the three organs of the state, and that they work for the welfare of people. So in a parliamentary system, the executive is part of the legislature and is responsible to the legislature. When we learn about the executive, it is important for us to understand who are included in executive. What are the constitutional provisions relating to executive and what is the process of policy making for public welfare. So here India's Union Executive comprises of the President, Prime Minister, and the Council of Ministers. Now about this we are going to study in detail in this chapter. So the first thing, President. According to the provisions in the Constitution of India, the President is the supreme head of the state. President is the supreme head. सबसे highest level पे supreme head President होते हैं. The office of the President has the highest honor and prestige, and it represents the Republic of India. So President is the person who represents the Republic of India, and here is the picture of our current President. You people find it out and write it in your notebook. But one thing about the President, keep in mind that it is the supreme head and the office of the President has the highest honor and prestige. Also, it represents the Republic of India. All executive powers of the state are vested in the President by the Constitution. The government carries out its functions in the name of the President. Government is there working for the people, different types of schemes, different types of plans, but all these things are going in the name of the President. मतलब जो सरकार चलती है वो President के नाम से चलती है. However, in reality, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers run the government. In reality, if we talk. Therefore, the President is the nominal and constitutional head, whereas the Prime Minister is the executive head. मतलब पूरा काम करने का जो राइट्स होते हैं, डिसीजन लेने के राइट्स होते हैं, वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर और काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स के पास होते हैं, बट ये सारा काम प्रेसिडेंट के नाम से चलता है. Here you can see the list of presidents of India. The first one, Rajendra Prasad, then Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, Gyani Jail Singh, then Neelam Sanjiva Reddy, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad, Varagiri Venkatgiri, Zakir Hussain, Ramaswamy Venkatam, Shankar Dayal Sharma, K.R. Narayanan, APJ Abdul Kalam, Pratibha Patil, Pranab Mukherjee, now Ramnath Kovind. So about president, these are the important points. Here is one chat box given in this. What is given? See, the president is the nominal head and the prime minister is the executive head. Rama is asking, the president is the nominal head and the prime minister is the executive head. Then what type of relationship exists between persons holding these posts? And then Vidya answering this question, I think the prime minister meets the president regularly. For what? To inform him about the conduct of administration, how the things are going. Yes, and this is right. The prime minister informs the president about the administration of the country and about new laws and policies. Rather, the president has a right to seek such information. It is the right of president, but it is the duty of prime minister to give updates to the president. Elections of the president. The president is indirectly elected by the people of India, not directly through elections from the people. जैसे लोकसभा के members जाते हैं वैसे नहीं. The president is indirectly elected by the people of India. The common people do not vote in the elections of the president. He is elected by directly elected representatives of the central and state legislatures. जिन लोगों को लोगों ने ऑलरेडी चुन के दिया है, डायरेक्ट इलेक्शन के थ्रू वो हाउसेस में जाकर बैठे, उनके थ्रू प्रेसिडेंट का इलेक्शन होता है या फिर उनके थ्रू प्रेसिडेंट का चयन होता है, इलेक्शन में वोटिंग होती है. द ग्रुप ऑफ दीज parliamentarians and members of state legislature is known as the electoral college. The electoral college. The tenure of the president is of 5 years. हर 5 साल के बाद वो बदलते हैं. The tenure of the president is of 5 years. The person contesting the presidential elections should be an Indian citizen, and not only Indian citizen, but he should be at least 35 years of age. The person elected to the position of the president has to take an oath. Oath of what? While accepting the post, and that oath, according to the oath, the president bears the responsibility of protecting constitution. If there is something going wrong or different than the things mentioned in the constitution, then it is the duty or the responsibility of the president to protect the constitution and ensuring that the government runs as per the constitution. प्रेसिडेंट को ये चेक करना पड़ता है, ध्यान देना पड़ता है कि जो कुछ देश में चल रहा है, इज this going as per the law or as per the constitution. The president governs in accordance with the advice given by the prime minister and the council of ministers. So there is bridge, we can say, or there is कनेक्शन बिटवीन द प्रेसिडेंट एंड द प्राइम मिनिस्टर एंड द काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स. ये तीनों लोग जो है मिलकर देश को चलाते हैं, एक दूसरे के साथ सलाह मशवरा करते हैं. एंड द नेक्स्ट थिंग, द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ प्रोटेक्टिंग द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज shouldered by the president. But if any act of president violates, it means if it is breaking a rule or an agreement, then the constitution has the authority to remove the president, and for this the process is known as the impeachment. So procedure of impeachment. Any one house can lay the charge of violation of the constitution and the investigation of the charge is carried out by the other house. किसी भी एक हाउस को ये चार्ज करना पड़ता है. A written notice signed by more than 1/4 of the total number of the members of the house, any, it's submitted, and once it is received, after 14 days a resolution is moved. The resolution has to be passed by majority, that is more than 2/3 of the total numbers of the house or the members of the house, and then the resolution has to be passed by special 2/3 majority of both the houses of parliament, and then the charge is sent to the other house for investigation. So ऐसा नहीं है कि प्रेसिडेंट को भी उनकी जगह से हटाया नहीं जा सकता है. इफ़ he or she is using his power not in the benefit of the country or constitution के खिलाफ यूज़ की जा रही है, then उनको हटाने की जो प्रोसेस है, that is called impeachment. Powers and functions of the president. The constitution has entrusted several powers and functions to the president. Now here the president summons the meeting of parliament, then prorogues the session of parliament, sends messages to both houses, dissolves the parliament after the tenure is over or even before the tenure gets over. These are the rights or the functions of the president. Bill passed by the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha must be signed by the president. Without his signature, the bill cannot become a law. As soon as the bill is passed, it will become an act. But when? If it is signed by the president. लोकसभा या राज्यसभा में कोई भी बिल अगर पास होता है तो उसे लॉ में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए, उसका लॉ बनने के लिए उस पर प्रेसिडेंट का साइन होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. उसके सिवा उसका लॉ नहीं बनता है. President appoints the Prime Minister and other ministers on the recommendations of Prime Ministers. First he appoints the Prime Minister, and after the recommendations by the Prime Minister, he appoints other ministers. The President appoints the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts. The President also appoints the governors of states, Chief Election Commissioner and other important officers. The President is the Supreme Commander. President is the Supreme Commander of the Defense Forces. Decisions regarding war and peace are made by the President. It totally depends on the President because he is the Supreme Commander of the Defense Force. The President has some judicial powers too, like for instance the President has the power to reduce the punishment, grant a reduction in punishment or commute a sentence of a person, or in special circumstances grant pardons or reprise on humanitarian grounds. And for this many times you can find the name of President in the news. The President has the power to declare emergency if anything going wrong in any particular state or in the country, in case of crisis situation arising in the country. And there are three kinds of emergencies mentioned in the Constitution. The first one, national emergency, state emergency and the financial emergency. If the things are not going at national level, then national emergency. If any state is not going through the laws or through the ways of the constitution, then state emergency. और अगर फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस अगर कंट्री में हो जाता है तो इस तरह के इमरजेंसी लगाने का अधिकार प्रेसिडेंट के पास होता है, फाइनेंशियल emergency. Now in the union government or in the union executive, next to the president we are going to talk about the prime minister. But before that, if the president is absent, then in the absence of the president, his functions are carried out by the vice president, and the vice president is elected by members of both the houses of the parliament, like president. Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. The president is the constitutional head, but in reality his powers are nominal, and the Prime Minister along with his Council of Ministers is responsible for the administration. पूरा देश चलाने का, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन चलाने का काम जो है, या फिर उसके जो राइट्स है वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर और काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स के हाथ में होते हैं. दैट इज़ वाई इट इज़ सेड दैट द प्रेसिडेंट इज़ फॉर द नॉमिनल ओनली, एंड the prime minister along with his council of ministers is responsible for the administration. And here, like presidents, you can find the list of the prime ministers of India: Jawaharlal Nehru, Gulzarilal Nanda, Lal Bahadur Shastri, again Gulzarilal Nanda, Indira Gandhi, Morarji Desai, Charan Singh, again Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, VP Singh, Chandrasekhar, PV Narasimha Rao, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी, देवी गौड़ा, इंद्र कुमार गुजराल, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी, मनमोहन सिंह, एंड नाउ current Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. The party which attains a majority in elections nominates their leader as the Prime Minister. जिस भी पार्टी को बहुमत मिला है, मेजॉरिटी मिला है, वो अपने चुनकर आए हुए मेंबर्स में से एक को उनका लीडर घोषित करती है, जिसे प्राइम मिनिस्टर उन्हें बनाना होता है. एंड देन द काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर इज देन फॉर्म्ड आफ्टर द प्राइम मिनिस्टर. द प्राइम मिनिस्टर एंड द काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स मस्ट बी मेंबर्स ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट, एंड इन केस दे आर नॉट मेंबर्स, they are required to get elected to the parliament within 6 months of their appointment. The government in reality is run by the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. What it exactly means, that we see the functions of the Prime Minister. The foremost task of the Prime Minister is to form his Council of Ministers. The first thing, while doing this, the Prime Minister gives priority to trustworthy colleagues, and while considering their administrative experience, governance skills, efficiency and subject expertise. For example, if the minister is of agriculture, तो उनको उस फील्ड का पूरा नॉलेज होना चाहिए. After deciding upon the members of the council of ministers, the prime minister allocates portfolios to them. For which field will they work? The prime minister leads the council of ministers. The prime minister chairs all the meetings of the council of ministers. Now, one thing you can do here, you people find out the name of education minister of our country. So here, portfolio of education, to whom is allocated. Next, after allocation of portfolios, the prime minister has to maintain coordination in the working of various departments, facilitate cooperation among the departments, supervise the working of these departments in order to maintain efficacy and efficiency. It means that the prime minister in the country works as the team leader or the captain of the council of ministers. So other ministers also have to give their reports to the prime minister. The prime minister also has various other responsibilities, such as to raise the image of the country in the international arena and works towards achieving a favorable opinion globally. That is a part of foreign policy. And to develop trust among people and to provide strong support to people who are victims of any disaster, etc. If there is any problem or any disaster in the country or in any particular state, then it is the duty of the prime minister to give them hope and also to give them help. And now the functions of Council of Ministers. In a parliamentary form of government, the Council of Ministers takes initiative in the process of lawmaking. The scheme, policy plans, etc. are drafted and discussed and then introduced in the House. So, number of steps are there. जब भी कोई पॉलिसी या स्कीम कॉमन पीपल तक आती है तो उसमें बहुत सारी स्टेप्स होती है और ये सारी चीज़ें उसमें हो जाती है. The Council of Ministers discuss important questions before making a decision. Education, agriculture, industry, health, foreign relations are subjects upon which the Council of Ministers has to decide specific policies or direction of work. The Parliament needs to be taken into confidence about the policy decisions taken by the government, and therefore the ministers of respective departments lay their policy plans in the Parliament. और जैसे ही वो अपना प्लान पार्लियामेंट में लाते हैं तो उस पर डिस्कशंस होती है, डिबेट होती है, एंड देन द प्रोसेस ऑफ अप्रूवल. और जब अप्रूवल होता है तो फिर वो हाउस से आगे जाता है टू द प्रेसिडेंट, फिर साइन होती है एंड देन इट बिकेम एक्ट. देन द नेक्स्ट वन, implementation of policy, very important one, is the foremost responsibility of the Council of Ministers. Once the Parliament approves the policies or draft proposals, the Council of Ministers implements them for the people. I mean, this is the next one. How does the Parliament keep check over the executive, which is again very important thing. In a parliamentary system of government, the legislature tries to keep control over the executive, that is the Council of Ministers, and the control is exercised in the law making or policy making process, implementation of policies, and even after that. And for that, 4 ways are given in our textbook. In that, the first one, discussions and debates. Debate and discussion among the members of the House are an integral part of the law making process. If you go for the Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha TV, there you can see the debates and discussions on any particular topic. And these debates and discussions help the members to scrutinize the policy proposals and laws and point out the shortcomings. So these discussions are essential for creation of flawless laws. Then the next thing here, the discussions are essential for the creation of healthy laws, we can say. Next one, question hour. During parliamentary sessions, the proceedings of the House begins with the questions asked by the members of the House, and the concerned ministers are supposed to give satisfactory answers to these questions. If any member in the opposition raise questions about the education policy or anything related with the education, then the answer is to be given by the education minister. Question hour is one of the most effective ways of keeping a check over the Council of Ministers. And during question hour, members criticize, this one important, criticize the government and ask questions on various issues. Sometimes when a member is not satisfied with the answer of the minister, arguments take place, and occasionally members walk out of the house or enter into the well of the house and give slogans to record their protest. Now to understand this in detail, आप अगर लोकसभा राज्यसभा टीवी जो दिखती है ड्यूरिंग द सेशंस, उसको अगर देखेंगे तो ये सारी जो काम करने की प्रोसेस है हाउसेस की, वो आपको अच्छे से समझ में आएगी. नेक्स्ट थिंग, 0 आवर. During the parliamentary sessions, the period around 12 noon is called 0 hour, and during this period any question of public importance can be raised and discussed. Here you can see a day in parliament, 11 am to 12 am, 0 hour, special mention calling attention. Then 12 question hour, 20 start and 155 unstart questions, and here paper table bills introduced. Then 1 pm to 2 pm, that is lunch, and then 3 to 6 legislative businesses, half hour discussion, short duration discussion, Lok Sabha till 6 pm. And on Fridays the last 2.5 hours are reserved for private member business. And the last thing in this, non-confidence motion. This is one of the most effective ways to keep a check on the Council of Ministers. The government stays in power till it enjoys the support of majority in Lok Sabha. It is a number game. Majority होनी चाहिए तभी गवर्नमेंट बनता है, सरकार बनती है, and the government can enjoy it till the support of majority in Lok Sabha. Now, if the members of parliament withdraw the support, उनको कुछ बातें अच्छी नहीं लगी, उन्हें लग रहा है ये गवर्नमेंट अच्छी तरह से काम नहीं कर रहा है, तो जिन जिन अलग अलग मेंबर्स ने या पार्टियों ने सपोर्ट दिया होता है वो निकाल लेते हैं. If the members of the parliament withdraw the support, it may lead to the loss of majority and the government cannot stay in power. The members of the house can move a non-confidence motion by simply expressing we do not have confidence in the government, and if the motion is passed with majority support, then the council of ministers has to resign. इसका मतलब वो जो पर्टिकुलर गवर्नमेंट है, पर्टिकुलर पार्टी का, वो गवर्नमेंट उस वक्त से देश में नहीं रहता है, फिर आगे अगला गवर्नमेंट बनाने की प्रोसेस स्टार्ट होती है. बट हियर वन थिंग इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, non-confidence motion, which is most effective ways to keep a check on the council of ministers. Now here in this topic we discussed about the structure of the union government, president, election of the president, powers and functions of the president, prime minister and the council of ministers, functions of the prime minister, how does the parliamentary keep a check over the executive, in that discussions and debates, question hour, 0 hour, no confidence motion. And now there is an extensive bureaucracy that works under the executive, and that we'll study in the 6th chapter. Please subscribe the channel and press bell icon to get notifications. So my dear students, this is all for today. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe, take care.